Hello, friends, and welcome to Jewels of Truth. My name is Daniel Fontenot, and I would like to ask a question. I seem like on every one of these videos I'm asking a question. Well, the question is, will Donald Trump be the new Constantine? I want to put that question in our heads. I think it's something that we need to seriously consider. When we consider this Project 2025, I think it's very important that we ask ourselves, will Donald Trump be the new Constantine? Because in this Project 2025, if I'm stating it correctly, I forget which, I may be have turned the two around there. It may be 2025 project. However, it is. Considering the fact that in these plans that the conservatives have for when the new Republican president, probably Donald Trump, takes over in 2025, he apparently is going to follow a similar, I think we will see in this little article here, he will be doing something similar to what Constantine did. When you consider especially the fact that in this Project 2025 is involved some effort by their plans to pass laws that would have the government discourage employers from having their workers work on Sundays, okay? And of course, that would be only the first step towards enforcing Sunday observance. But but hear me out, please. This is an article entitled "Christianity Legally Defined in Rome," and it was. Christianity was legally defined in Rome, and this is from a periodical back in the 1890s and I think early 1900s. The periodical was called American Sentinel, and the date of this article is July 19th, 1894, and it's written by a man named A.T. Jones. So this is what he says. We really need to consider this. If the mutual flattery of Constantine and the bishops had concerned only themselves, it would have been a matter of very slight importance indeed, but it was not so. So what the writer is describing here, he's describing the very beginning of the relationship between Constantine and the churches, the Christian churches at that time. Remember that before Constantine, the Christian churches, the Christian people, they were persecuted by paganism, by pagan Rome, okay? And make no mistake about it, dear friends. Constantine, I don't care what anybody tells you, because I'm aware that there are people out there that have for years taught that Constantine was converted to Christianity. That is not true. Constantine was a pagan all the way through. He was doing nothing different than what politicians do today. They give lip service to Christianity, to the Bible, and it's for political expediency. They have no more interest in the Bible and in Christianity than, not much more than a pagan. Okay? So, the writer, A.T. Jones, he says, if the mutual flattery, remember, mutual flattery of Constantine and the bishops, because they were flattering each other, okay? The bishops wanted the persecution to stop, of course, but they had other motives. If it had only concerned themselves, it would have been a matter of very slight importance indeed, but it was not so. Each side represented an important interest. Constantine merely represented the state, and the bishops, the church, and their mutual flattery was only the covering of a deep-laid and far-reaching scheme which each party was determined to work to the utmost for his own interest. Now, I'm not going to make the claim that every single thing that this writer says about this parallels what's going to happen, or maybe I should say it just the opposite way. I'm not going to say that everything that what the plans are in the 2025 project and to have Donald Trump come to the presidency again, be reelected. I'm not going to say that every detail is the same as this that is described here in this article, but there is so much similarity that it is irresistible to wonder, to question, will Donald Trump be the new Constantine? It was the aim of Constantine to make theology a branch of politics. It was the hope of every bishop in the empire to make politics a branch of theology. Consequently, in their mutual totemism were involved the interest of both the church and the state and the welfare of human society for ages to come. So I thought of this word totemism, and what did it mean? Well, it means sycophancy, fawning, obsequious behavior. Sycophancy originally informed of the clandestine exportation of figs. That's what it was originally, okay? Hence, meaning mean tale-bearing, okay? You go and you report someone, okay? Obsequious flattery, servility, okay? Just the word fawning there in that first definition of totemism. What does it mean whenever you're fawning over someone? It's gross flattery. Sycophant, originally an informer against those who stole figs or exported them contrary to law, etc. Hence, in time, it came to signify a talebearer or informer. In general, hence a parasite, a mean flatterer, especially a flatterer of princes and great men. Hence, a deceiver, an impostor. Its most general use is in the sense of an obsequious flatterer or parasite. Sycophants is to play the sycophant, to flattery, or rather to flatter meanly or officially, to inform or tell tales for gaining favor. The sycophantic tale-bearing, more generally obsequiously flattering, parasitic, courting favor by mean adulation. Sycophantic plants or parasites are such as adhere to other plants and depend on them for support. But it means gross flattery, okay? And I think it should be pretty much obvious to a lot of people that there is a lot of flattering back and forth between Trump and the conservatives, the Christians. A lot of flattery, a lot of fawning. Not that everyone does that for that motive, but there are a lot, probably a lot of them, most of them. Therefore, to the reign of Constantine the Great must be referred the commencement of those dark and dismal times which oppressed Europe for 1,000 years. When the alliance was formed between Constantine and what was represented to him as Christianity, okay, Christianity is being falsely represented to Trump. Okay, take that for what it's worth. So when the alliance was formed between Constantine and what was represented to him as Christianity, it was with the idea on his part that this religion, Christianity, formed a united body throughout the empire. And I think that Trump is assuming that all Christians are united to a certain degree. I think he has that idea. And has been shown, as has been shown, this was true in a certain sense because the persecution carried on by Galerius under the edicts of Diocletian was against Christianity as a profession without any distinction whatever as to its phases. And this caused all the different sects to stand together as one in defense of the principles that were common to all. So all the persecution under pagan Rome it caused the Christians to unite because they were all being persecuted. Therefore, the essential unity of all the professions of Christianity, Constantine was supposed to be a fact. Okay, so that's I think to me that makes sense. I could see that, and Constantine, I could, how would I say it? Constantine would be to a certain degree justified in thinking that all the churches, all the Christians, they were all united because they were all being persecuted. And from all his actions and writings afterward, it is certain that representations had been made to him by the bishops in a stronger measure than was true, and in an infinitely stronger measure than he found it in practice to be. The alliance with Christianity on Constantine's part was wholly political. It was merely a part of the political machinery by which he designed to bring together again the divided elements of the empire into one harmonious whole, as contemplated by Diocletian. You know, as I am reading this morning, I saw a report where in a recent speech, Trump said he was not going to, if he was reelected, he was not going to seek, what was the word, Debbie? Well, anyway, it meant he was not going to seek revenge against those who were bringing all these lawsuits against him and all the other dirty stuff that the liberals have been doing. Okay, he made it clear that if he is elected, he is not going to seek revenge. He wants to be successful in bringing this country back to where it was. You see, and I think that's a parallel also. All right, he just like Constantine. I think Trump wants to bring all the divided elements of the country into one harmonious whole, as was contemplated by Diocletian, it being represented to him by the bishops who met him in Gaul in AD 311 that Christianity was a united body which, if he would support it, would in turn be a powerful support to him. He accepted their representations as the truth and formed the alliance solely as a part of his political designs, and to help him to forward his declared mission to, quote, unite the world under one head. That's interesting right there. But although the alliance was formed with what was supposed to be Christianity as a whole, without any respect to internal divisions, it was very soon discovered that each particular faction of the Christian profession was ambitious to be recognized as the one in which, above all other, Christianity was most certainly represented. So when you start giving the churches favors, okay, you start bringing them into power, the churches are going to fight for that power as to who should be recognized above all the other churches. The bishops were ready and willing to represent to Constantine that Christianity was one. They did so represent it to him. And although he entered the alliance with that understanding, the alliance had no sooner been well formed than it devolved upon him to decide among the conflicting factions and divisions just where that one was to be found. Okay? It ended up being his responsibility to decide which one of those factions / churches would be the church. Okay? The Edict of Milan ordered that the church property which had been confiscated by the edicts of Diocletian should be restored to the whole body of Christians without any distinction as to the particular sects or names. And it says, thus runs that part of the edict. Now, I'm not going to read the edict to you, the Edict of Milan. It would take too much time and it'd be kind of boring in a way. But I'll leave because you can find the notes on this video if you'll just click there in the description box. Okay, so you can read it for yourself. But suffice it to say, as it says that the Edict of Milan ordered that the church property which had been confiscated by the edicts of Diocletian should be restored to the whole Christian body, to the whole body of Christians. Okay, so what I would do is parallel this restoration to the Christians to what the Christians and what Donald Trump would like to do now is restore things back to the way that they used to be in this country. Restore our freedoms to the way things used to be, things like that. So that there is a parallel. If you go on to the next page of your notes, page 3, after the edict, it says this was proper in itself, which a lot of the things that they are proposing, if Trump gets back into office, if they do what they say they're going to do, some of these things would be right, like restoring the border, okay? And a lot of other things. Those things would be right to do, some of them, okay? And like this says in the article, this was proper in itself. But Constantine and the bishops had formed an alliance for political purposes. The bishops had lent to Constantine their support, the fruit of which he was enjoying. And notice, and now they demanded that the expected return should be rendered. Don't you think that if Trump is reelected, I believe he will be, and if he is reelected, don't you think that the conservatives, mainly the churches, are going to say, you owe us, and you owe us to do the things we want you to do, okay? Accordingly, the restoration of the property of the Christians under the Edict of Milan had no sooner begun than the contentions which had been raised before the late persecution meaning under pagan Rome, okay, between the Church of Rome and the churches of Africa at that time, were not only made to assume new and political significance, but were made an issue upon which to secure the imperial recognition and the legal establishment of the Catholic Church. So, it's easy to see who Rome is in this paragraph here. This would be, the Catholic Church in our day, the papacy, okay? And in the churches of Africa, who that would be, all I know is that they're going to try to make a determination. The government, Trump, is going to try to make a determination as to who is the true church. The ones represented by the Church of Rome during Constantine's day, or the churches represented by Africa in our day, which I believe probably maybe be between the Catholic Church and the Protestant churches. It may go further than that. Don't know. But let's go on. As the rule had already been established that all who did not agree with the bishops of the Catholic Church were necessarily heretics and not Christians, it was now claimed by the Catholic Church that therefore none could be partakers of the benefits of the Edict of Milan, restoring property to the Christians. Okay? So they're saying, the Catholic Church is saying, hey, the churches there in Africa, they're not the true church. They shouldn't be partakers in this Edict of Milan. The Catholic Church disputed the right of heretics to receive property or money under the Edict of Milan by disputing their right to the title of Christians. So in order to have these freedoms, I'm going to say it this way, in order to have this freedom of conscience, then you have to agree with the Catholic Church. Okay? So the Catholic Church will dispute any other church of their right to the title of Christians. This forced an imperial decision upon the question as to who were Christians. The dispute was raised in Africa. Anilinus was proconsul in that province. And to settle this question, Constantine wrote this to him. He said, "It is our will that when thou shalt receive this epistle, if any of those things belonging to the Catholic Church of the Christians in the several cities or other places are now possessed by the decurions," it's an odd word, "or any others, these shalt thou cause immediately to be restored to their churches, since we have previously determined that whatsoever these same churches before possessed shall be restored to their right." So the writer of the article, A.T. Jones, continues, "Thus it was made evident that the imperial favors were meant only for the Catholic Church. But it was not enough that Constantine should decide that all his favors were for the Catholic Church. He must next decide which was the Catholic Church, because Catholic, you see, means universal. So which one is the universal church? Okay? This he did in 313 in another letter to Anilinus. Thus, he said, Constantine said, "It is my will that these men within the province entrusted to thee in the Catholic Church, over which Sililianus presides, who give their services to this holy religion, and whom they commonly call clergy, shall be held totally free and exempt from all public offices, to the end that they may not, by any error or sacrilegious deviation, be drawn away from the service due to the divinity, but rather may devote themselves to their proper law without any molestation, so that whilst they exhibit the greatest possible reverence to the deity, it appears the greatest good will be conferred on the state." A.T. Jones continues, Following this, two councils were called by the emperor to settle disputes between these claiming to be the proper representatives of the Catholic Church. The first was held October 13th, the second in August of the following year. They both decided in favor of Silinianus and the party presided over by him. The question as to which was the Catholic Church having been decided, Constantine, in his next epistle, could add yet another distinguishing title. As we have seen, the Edict of Milan, March A.D. 313, ordered that the churches should be restored to the Christians, the whole body of Christians, without distinction. When the Catholic Church asserted its sole right to the designation Christian and backed its assertion with political reasons, which were then peculiarly cogent, the imperial epistle ran, March A.D. 313, quote, "to the Catholic Church of the Christians." When the emperor wrote to the Melchiades, appointing the first council under the imperial authority, this epistle ran, autumn A.D., quote, "the Holy Catholic Church." When he wrote to Crestus, summer A.D. 314, summoning him to the second council under imperial authority, he referred to the doctrine of the Catholic Church as embodying the, quote, "the most holy religion." The most holy religion. That means the Catholic Church. When had it been decided which was the, quote, "the most holy Catholic religion," unquote, he addressed an epistle to Silinianus, A.D. 316, announcing imperial favors to, quote, "the legitimate and most holy Catholic religion," and empowered Silinianus to assist the imperial officers in preventing any diversion from the most holy Catholic Church. So, it was thus that which on its face appeared only innocent and highly proper, that is, and indeed a necessary act of justice, in restoring to its rightful owners property unjustly confiscated resulted inside of 3 years in the establishment of the Roman Catholic Church as the religion of the empire. Now, friends, please try to wrap your minds around this. Let me read it again, and then I'm going to comment, and then we'll close. It was thus that which on its face appeared only innocent and highly proper, indeed a necessary act of justice, restoring to its rightful owners property unjustly confiscated, okay, meaning if you take it to our time, that things being restored to the way things were before the present administration, okay, restoring things back to the way they were before the present administration, and you know who I'm talking about, something that appeared innocent and highly proper resulted inside of 3 years in the establishment of the Roman Catholic Church as the religion of the empire. So I can see in this, because the end of a thing is shown by the beginning of a thing. There is no new thing under the sun. After things are restored in this country to the way that they were before the present administration, within a short time, I'm not saying 3 years, within a short time, the Roman Catholic Church is going to be established as the religion of this nation. This presentation may have come to a surprise to those of you who may be new to this channel. But I hope that these words sink deep down into your hearts and your minds. If you agree with this presentation, by all means, tap that like button so that it can be sent far and wide to those who are hungering for the bread of life. And if you agree, if you want to post your comments and questions, then by all means, place them at the bottom of this video. And if you haven't subscribed, we would highly encourage you to do so. Thank you for joining us here at Jewels of Truth. Have a good day in the Lord.